I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. Mother Teresa. The city of San Bernardino has a rich history in community development. This goes all the way back to its formation, when you had a group of Mormon missionaries who founded the city. This goes back to the establishment of several organizations like the West Side Action Group, the NAACP, and many others. Community, for me, when I think of home, is community development. It's my neighbors, it's my elders, it's my family, it's my friends. So it's important to me whenever I meet someone who cares about the city just as much as I do, and even more so, cares about creating a legacy for people beyond something that I can even imagine. My guest today is Jessica Bruny. Jessica is a wellness coach. She's also the program director for an organization called Music Changing Lives. Jessica also heads her own organization called Just Be You. Jessica is a phenomenal person that inspires hope in everyone she meets. So today, I would like to introduce you to Jessica Bruny. This is Creative Rec with Richard Blacksher, and you are Jessica Bruny. Am I pronouncing that right?
You are. This is Jessica Bruny.
All right, AKA Just the Best, AKA this is my new favorite mug, because it has a brain that's happy, and it asks the question, are you being gentle with the mental? Which is the name of your podcast. So we're actually kind of killing two birds with one stone right now. Did you just take a sip of the same mug?
I did.
Okay. Well, yeah, you make the mug. So, I mean, of course you wouldn't want to do that. Again, I like the brain because it's happy. This whole podcast thing is, I say it every episode. It's not a podcast. It's podcast style, but it's not. For me, it started because I was not being gentle with my mental. We've been in a pandemic. And as a creative, it's really rough because for me, performing is one of those outlets. And when you don't have an outlet, you don't have it, and you don't realize how much you rely on that thing as your like vice. But here you are, you're a wellness coach. And I mean, I don't like dominating the conversation. This is a conversation about you. So if you had wellness coach Jessica Bruny, who has the podcast, Are You Being Gentle with Your Mental? You don't have to talk about mental health or wellness, but if you had 30 minutes to talk about anything, what would it be?
Honestly, it would be about mental health. It would also be about within the community, especially within the Black and Caribbean community. Myself, just a little bit background, I am Haitian, a Haitian American. My father came over from Haiti to America, and began his legacy here with all of his children. And honestly, mindfulness wasn't really raised in our communities. It wasn't in my household. Since my father came from Haiti, all I really ever seen all my life was hustle, hustle, hustle. Hustlers, you gotta go get it. You gotta make it happen. Any time of the day, however long that they needed to do something, it was going to be done. And so they definitely instilled in us like confidence, to be able to know what you want and to go after it, but never about like safe boundaries within the workspace in the community. Never like, okay, you're going to need to take moments for yourself. You're going to need to take self-care. You need to be able to be gentle with your mental. And that was something I struggled with growing up. I never really knew how to sometimes express myself. I never had spaces where I could go to, therapy wasn't, or wellness centers weren't in our communities. We didn't go to therapists. I grew up with a really large family dynamic, and at times, I needed somebody that didn't know my family to not have that biased opinion. about somebody that I needed to talk about or, discuss an issue with. And so I really encourage, others that do, either if they do have a small family, if they do have a large family, to definitely find somebody that they can speak to, can speak with. And so I always felt comfort in, really, I started just like talking to people, having open conversations, having intentional dialogue with individuals. Now, as I grow into, adulthood, womanhood, I find value in that. Because there's always that person that really needs somebody to just like be open with, or just to share what's really going on with them and not have that biased opinion about because they know, so and so. And so really, back just basically to share, kind of my backstory. I grew up with a large family dynamic. On my mom's side, it's 4 kids. So I was the youngest of 4. But then with my dad kids growing up all together, it was 14 of us. And I was the baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well,
and so it was 8 boys and 6 girls growing up. And so I grew up in 2 different households. When I would visit my father, go back and forth with my mom. But I really, from ever since like growing up with them, I was always connected with human connections, human development. I was just like, what is it about people? I was like, I want to find more about like the underlayer of everything other than just the surface of what I always was like around and grew up with. So I went to study human development at Cal State San Bernardino. I graduated with a psychology major. After that, I went into a fast. It was my first intentional fast of my life, because my grandfather, he is actually a minister. So we grew up in the church. We always knew what fasting was looking like. But, as a kid, I didn't participate in it, at least intentionally. And so this was a really new start for me when I graduated post-college. You're figuring out, okay, like what is really going to happen now? And I knew what I wanted to accomplish with community, because I grew up in community. I knew what that looked like. I knew what that felt like. But then I also was just asking God, really, like, how can I serve your people? How can I be of a vessel? And he told me to start with the mindset. And I was like, okay. I was like, all right, we're going to start with the mindset. And, I'm currently in training for my certification. And so I'm really offering free meditation calls, free learning calls to talk to people about what I'm learning, what they're experiencing, to really become the best version of themselves. Sometimes you just need, other than just like me being a wellness coach, it's really like an accountability partner, somebody that can really be direct but loving with you.
Right. So you, not to simplify, but you are pretty much, it's therapy, but on a practical, let me not say practical, but it's therapy without, an informal therapy, maybe.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. And it feels good. It feels good when I can connect with people and how they're booking calls and they share what they're going through, and I can guide them. It really feels good. It doesn't feel like a hardship on me or something that somebody's pulling me to do. It really just feels natural. And sometimes when I'm speaking, I literally will feel the spirit through me, because I'm like, they'll catch something, and then I'm like, what did I just even say? And I'm like, they'll tell me like I said something. I'm like, wow, I said that. And so, but just to go to say that I really feel like I'm walking in my purpose. I'm feeling like I really know my power, and it's just my voice.
So I kind of want to go back to even your superhero origin story of, again, growing. There's a lot there, which, the foundations are what build who we are, childhood, family dynamics. And it's interesting how you are right now are pulling and saying it's because of your family dynamics that one pushed you to this field, even when you were in college doing psychology, and two, kind of motivating you to see community because you grew up in such a large family. So I guess my question for you is like, did the dots always connect, or Is that something that you were always thinking about? You just didn't have the words for it yet? Or as you are, transitioning into becoming a wellness coach, you're starting to reflect back on your life and say, okay, I'm here because of that?
Mm, great question.
Thank
I
you.
never knew that I wanted to be in a position, you know. I never knew that the dots were really gonna align like this. I think what now is really happening, especially it's my birthday month. So, when I get closer to your birthday, I think if it's not just me, but I always reflect back on my life. I always reflect back when I was this age and what was I doing there, and who was around me. And
Yeah,
it's
that.
really I'm really feeling like I'm elevating, that song with Drake, like elevate, elevate, like.
Yes.
So I just truly feel like the evolution is really just here, and it really does begin with mindfulness. I'm so happy that I can connect back and be like those full circle moments and be like, oh wait, it's because I had a family. I know what community looks like, so I know how to. I know what leadership looks like. I know what exertion looks like. I know what sacrifice looks like. I know what just giving up looks like. I've given up on people.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I know
yeah.
what downfalls look like. Um, I know what financial structures and the hustle and all of that just looks like. It was really just, it was in my environment. But like I said, I feel like just what honestly was missing was the mindfulness.
So,
The
oh, sorry, I don't want to cut
mindfulness.
you off.
Mhm.
I didn't want to cut you off. My bad.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah, I was just saying that I really feel like that was just what was missing, if anything.
I just kind of want to like even probe deeper into that, because you're absolutely right. We, um, as an African American male, that idea of mindfulness, wealth, and again, are you being gentle with your mental? That was never. It was always secondary. As I'm an adult now, and as watching my mom, who she's gone through stuff, with her health, and watching how she pushed through it. Even that statement kind of was, we do this, we have to go, we just grind it out.
Mm-hmm.
God has our back, we grind it out. But again, the older I get, I realize like that's not the kind of person I am. And it's interesting how we have a generation now, people in our generation are seeing like, no, this is not, it's not a cultural thing. You're not less Black, you're not less Haitian, um, you're not less Mexican, you're not less El Salvadorian. If you say, no, I don't think working harder is what's going to make me feel better about myself. How do you kind of deal with that with family members who, you're doing this journey on mental health and wellness. Do you have support from your family? Is that something that they weren't on board with at first, or do they? I don't know. I kind of want to know more about that. How are you dealing with this?
Culturally, they're very proud of me. I'm the first actually woman in my family to have graduated
Hmm.
college. Some of my accolades, the first of, the only of the like the 30 under 30,
Yeah.
since I'm the youngest.
Congratulations.
And thank you. I've just published, I had some publications in the NABO magazine. And so things like that are just of the first. And I tell them and I share them that is really for us, because if it wasn't for them, that really pushed me to be who I am. They knew that I had a light in me since I was young, and they knew I was going to just be myself and just be
Hmm.
this big ball of like light in just in the world. And they've always encouraged me to be my best. What I would say with just family support, I think that everybody deals with it in different ways. Is probably like, oh, like, why aren't you liking my post, or why aren't you commenting on my post when you can comment on like Beyonce's or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Somebody you'll never know. But just to go say is like, I think I don't need the pat on the back every time.
Mm.
I know who is in my corner. I know who I can go to for a call. I know who has actually put me in places, in rooms that have given me opportunities that I will be ever forever grateful for. And one is my brother Jessica Bruny. The leadership and mentorship that they're just our relationship. It's just truly dynamic, and I don't think it's like no one else's. But with that, it's just like, even my mom, I didn't think she knew I would just be in this position that I'm in. She just was like, wow, like, you're really blossoming. Like, it's really happening for you, and you're doing things I've never done or even thought of doing or have yet achieved in life. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just living life right now. I'm just going after my dreams. And I'm not stopping. There's, I have like a simple reminder on my hand. It's the ladder of success. Some people always think it's like a Roman numeral, but it's not.
Okay. Yeah, I had to do like this. That's it.
And so that is always like a simple reminder for me, like on my right hand too, just to continue going the right path. That it's always, as I'm climbing, I'm also lifting up the next leader in the community, the next person, always encouraging somebody, and like I said, this work isn't supposed to be done alone. And I continue to say that every time I'm talking to somebody, because regardless as if you look on my page or you find out everything I do or who my family members are, it's not supposed to be done alone. We come in this world alone, like by ourselves, but we're supposed to work together. It's really collaborative over competition. And
yeah, no, that's amazing. Because when you look at in this, I try so hard not to be like a guy that's against the zeitgeist, like, the current trends. But we do live in a society where, millennials, Gen Z, we're being told and pushed that you got to do this by yourself. No one's going to help you. Pick yourself up by your own bootstraps. Whatever you feel like it is that you do, you have to be on your own with it. But you're right. We live in a community. So can you speak more? Because I know, but what more, like a music changing lives? How is that something that is lifting up the community and, reaching out to the next generation?
Honestly, it's being able to have a platform, a safe space for youth to know that they can choose what they want. Sometimes you're young and your mom or your dad might be pushing you to play the flute or the trumpet. But at Music Changing Lives, we really give the kids the opportunity to choose something that they actually want to participate in, but then give them a platform to actually showcase their talents. And so it's honestly it's truly amazing that it's honestly a full circle moment. I was an artist myself. I played the violin and the piano when I was young and grew up in church. And so
I did not
just
know that.
be able to, just some little fun facts.
Okay, just write that down.
But honestly, Music Changed Lives is what changed my life. If I didn't have music, if I didn't have the opportunity to be in an orchestra, to play, on Sunday morning, I wouldn't have this confidence. I wouldn't have this flow of life of knowing like, okay, I got it. Like, those people believed in me when I was 10, when I was, 11 and whatever, going through my transition. But now I'm being able to help youth and parents understand why Music Changing Lives is so important in our communities, and that it is a safe space, that if you are a single parent, just like my mother, working after hours, that they can come to this place, but then also learn, something that is valuable in their life and could change their life, that it could take them on and build that confidence and build that support. And then we also help with academics. So as we're encouraging them to stay in schools, we've seen rates go up. We've seen behaviors change. We've seen friendships been able to be built. We encourage them to go to college. They've seen campuses. They've talked to college students, about their experience other than just seeing it like online or something, or just hearing, you got to go to college.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely, I mean, just to echo what you're saying, is a community activity. Again, even I'm a pianist myself, but like, I was just having a conversation with one of my bandmates. Like, and this is how we personally view the world, because we know we work together in a band. We never feel alone, no matter if it's music, no matter if it's, just helping each other out with life. But again, that kind of also goes back to like, I guess the current culture, creative arts right now, it is something that people can do on their own. It is something that people do, and that loneliness is kind of reflected. So I just kind of want to say kudos to you and Music Changing Lives, and your brother I know he started Music Changing Lives, for pushing that and giving kids the opportunity just to be in a community still.
Right. And it's been amazing. I know that we've been dealing with the pandemic. Of course, everybody had to figure out how they were going to be able to pivot this year, last year, really. And we were able to be awarded to give kids the opportunity in the Inland Empire to participate in our organization off of virtual programs. And so we were able to help over 240 youth actually experience still, having able to access art, DJing, like keyboard, dance. And so they were able to have an ability to not be just like, okay, yes, we're on Zoom learning about school, but let me get into my creative field. And so it's just amazing building small creators now and seeing what they can do. And it was just incredible, seeing their growth from just the months that they were able to spend with us. And so I really do, appreciate the team. I don't do this work alone. I can't do it all alone. We have to have individuals that know the arts, that understand it, that can speak from experience, that can encourage the youth to stay on top of it, that even though the program's done, to continue to take what they've learned today and to use it tomorrow.
I have nothing to add. That's incredible. Sheesh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess now is a good time to go to my question. So, again, Jessica Bruny. Wow. No, I don't actually. I'm not gonna go to the question yet, because you're absolutely right. Again, like, I just want to keep applauding you. This is something that we just don't see as a push anymore. Again, I work in the education sector and I teach English, but again, I'm a musician as like my side profession. So they both pay the bills. But my thing is, again, as I see younger musicians, there's a few musicians at my church, and it's amazing to watch them because they're all in high school, early college, and watching the community they have. They've made their own band. They're writing their own songs, underneath my church's umbrella, and they're still, they're thriving. And I can see the next generation of our church through, that solid group of like 5 or 6. And, the inverse is I look at, these musicians and artists that I've worked with or watched and seen them grow, or, little brothers of musicians that I know, and they're, making really, really good stuff, but they don't have a community. They don't have people they can reach out to and say, hey, can you listen to this? To the point where they give up because they feel like no one is supporting them. So again, like, I want to say just kudos to you guys for giving that support and having a space, because that is important. And that is important. I guess my question then is, how do you see that even affecting, I guess, mental health of children that you guys mentor?
Yeah, that's something when I got involved with Music Changing Lives, and now just encouraged to birth my own vision that God had created, to begin with the mindset and to begin with wellness in the community and bridging that gap. We really encourage them still to, really discuss those hard issues that they're having to speak. I always, even becoming from the education field, before getting into the nonprofit, I would help my students really be able to speak about their problems and get off whatever is in their thoughts, whatever is in their mind, to the next person that they got to say, to present themselves accordingly, and to also have accountability for your actions, for your words too, to also say what you mean and mean what you say. And so, with working with the youth, as far as with the creative, is always being able to just own what you do, and really stand up for who you are, and don't let nobody get you off your game, because there's going to be so many times, there's going to be so many obstacles that are already coming into your life, rather if it's family, environmental, but in your creative space, protect that energy, protect that, protect that idea that you have with all of you, with all your might. But definitely ask questions, ask the right questions. And if you need help and if you need guidance, then you have to ask for it, because I'm not a mind reader. I'm just, helping to have a better growth mindset, that when you have challenges, you won't stay in that fixed mindset, that you actually be able to be like, hey, you know what, I didn't know this. I can own up to my mistake, but can you help me with this? And it's just as simple. What they say, like that little saying, right? You miss 100 shots you don't take. So you got to kind of take that shot when you're just even feeling insecure or low self-esteem, and just being vulnerable, and just extending that grace and love to them as well.
Yeah, that's incredible. Again, I just applaud you for that. Jess.
Yes.
Jessica Bruny. Jessica is also the first name of Roger Rabbit's wife. Is she allowed to eat Trix?
Yeah. Oh, wait, is this a trick question?
I'm asking you. It's an honest question.
I'm gonna say no, because the way your face is. Oh, wait, no.
No, there's no right or wrong answer. It's
but
your name is my name is not Jessica, so my opinion doesn't really factor in.
But does she eat Trix? I hope not. I don't think those are good. Trix, right?
Cereal? Trix cereal with the famous catchphrase, "Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids." Jessica Rabbit is not a rabbit, but her last name is Rabbit. So can she eat Trix?
No.
Okay.
No.
You heard it from Jessica Bruny, Jessica herself. With all that being said, community takes a collective. Individuals, yes, while we can make impact, it doesn't happen alone. So let's remember that we're not alone. With no matter what it is that you want to achieve by yourself, maybe it's starting a business, maybe it's running a nonprofit. Understand that it's not something that you can achieve alone. And as we leave this year of isolation, we are all entering into a space again together to build not only our individual selves up, but also to build our communities up, so that way we can pass the torch to the next generation. You can follow Jessica Bruny on her podcast, Are You Being Gentle with Your Mental? You can follow her on all social media platforms. And like Jessica said earlier, you can tap in with her as an accountability partner and use her services as a wellness coach.